You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Good evening. Welcome into Greenie Sports Cards Live, the hobby industry's first multi-stream broadcast and live auction. Very happy to be with you this evening. My name is Jeremy Levine, coming to you live from Cleveland, Ohio, where we are very excited because the National Sports Collectors Convention is just about here, coming up at the end of the month. So we're going to continue to preview that this evening, talk about the National, what that means to Cleveland, Ohio, what that means to the industry itself. And we've got a couple of exciting guests to continue that dialogue and keep going with that. You can see us, as I mentioned, on the multi-stream. You might be watching us on Twitter, or X as it were, or Twitter as it were, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and LinkedIn, and all points in between. And of course, our auction takes place on eBay Live, and Alex Schott will be here a little bit later to take us through that and preview the auction. And then you can get in on the action, and all those cards, all those offerings. The auctions start at $2 a piece, and that's when the fun ensues, where you get to bid it up and try and acquire some of those pieces. And really, it's an interactive show because Alex is dependent on the audience and what you guys want to see. So you tell him what teams and what players and what kind of action you want to get into, and he's got plenty of cards at the ready because Greenie Sports Cards is a huge buyer and seller, proprietor of trading cards and memorabilia, particularly here in the Midwest. So check that out on eBay. Alex will be here to preview that a little bit later. We'll bring in Greenie here shortly. We'll be excited to welcome in Alex Tressler, one of the media ambassadors from the National itself. So we'll get to talk about Alex, who's a 22-year veteran of the United States Army. So we'll get to talk to Alex about his career, about his foray into the hobby industry, and what he's doing for the National. And then a little bit later, we'll welcome in Anthony Loparo from Top Notch Sports Breaks. We'll talk to Anthony about consignment and breaks and all kinds of action. And then the two of them happen to know each other, so we can get into that as well and talk about breaking and advice for the hobby industry. So really excited to be with you this evening and excited to welcome in the man himself. Let's go ahead and bring in Greenie, Steve Greenberg, owner and operator of Greenie Sports Cards, always buying, always selling. Greenie, welcome into Greenie Sports Cards Live.
Hey, Jeremy, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. It might be my name on there, but it is everybody's show. And Haley behind the scenes running the board tonight. So yeah, it's everybody's show, whether anybody's name's on it or not. So
yeah, we've said this before. It takes a village. You mentioned Haley behind the scenes helping produce the show, and Matt pulling cards and getting eBay teed up. Alex, of course, on the auction side, and John and Cooper and Adam and Will and Drew on the AV side.
And our newest associate, Noah, has been here for a couple of days. He's been prepping cards. He may not know what he's prepping, but he's prepping cards. So yeah.
You just line them up, tell
That's
him
right.
what you need done, and he'll get it done.
Yeah.
So, but
So
it's a pretty impressive team and operation that you've assembled, and to look back on a year ago, we of course were at the National in Chicago, and you've been doing this 18 years at least with a booth at the National, and we were able to spend some time out there last year, and to think how far you've come and the business has come, and Greenie Sports Cards, this, especially since the Great Lakes Collectors Convention as well. So now there's this media production component, the live auction component in partnership with eBay, and really, how far the business has grown, and the live events. You've got the Medina show as well. So what comes to mind initially when you kind of think back the last year of this evolution?
well, I mean, there's a lot of things. Not anything specific though, but just the culmination of where we've come from, and creating these events, creating these shows that we're doing tonight, the cards that we've produced for several of the student athletes, whether they've been Cleveland, Akron, South Bend, Notre Dame, and what we have going on in the future. So it's really just been a myriad of a different things, culminating with the National every year, because that is our biggest event. People have different terms and names for it. The big game, probably won't say the other one, but it is the biggest event of the year, and that is what we all look forward to. The end of July, whether it's Atlantic City, Baltimore, long time ago, Anaheim, Chicago, Cleveland. People ask me, are you going to go to the National this year? And I say they could put it in Kiev and I would go to it.
That's right. Yeah, Mike
Yeah,
Burkus used to say, "We'll put it in your backyard, and people will still come." It's
that's right. It doesn't.
it's I have to imagine most people that are tuning in or follow you, they're familiar with the card industry or have an interest in it. But this show, if you haven't seen it, and we've talked about this, there is nothing like it on size and scale. And from what we saw last year, the energy, the enthusiasm for the industry, the amount of money exchanging hands and cash on the floor and cards and breaking, and it was packed, aisle to aisle, dealer to dealer, and corporate booth to corporate booth. I don't know that I've ever seen a show like that, and I've seen this show plenty of times, and I've seen a lot of other events. I'm really excited for this thing to land in Cleveland this year.
Yeah, being in our hometown. It's terrific. We don't have a lot of travel expenses this year, so we're going to pull out some other stops, which we've been doing with the advertising and some of the things that we're going to give away at our booth, the backpacks and different things. So yeah, it is a show like no other. Everybody gears up for it. The corporate booths are unbelievable. What they give away, what they produce. The dealers, buying cards all year long for this event. And then the people I mean, there's people that come in from Australia. This is their vacation. This is their once a year family vacation. They come to the National, so this is it. This is the culmination of 1 year. And, it's not December 31st. It's almost July 31st, but this is our calendar year. This is the end of the year.
And like you said, there's a lot of words you normally can't say on a broadcast to describe this show, whether it's the Super Bowl of conventions or the World Series of conventions.
Right.
But it is a massive event, and there'll be potentially 100,000 people descending on Cleveland and attending. And I've said this before with the IX Center, unlike some of the other venues it goes to in cities. This is the only game in town. So the event is the venue, and the venue is the event. Whereas in Chicago, there's other options around the convention center, and in Rosemont and Anaheim, the same thing. You got the mouse over there and all his activities. But in Cleveland, when you go to the IX Center, that is the event. So you're there to experience the show. And we've got a guest tonight in Alex Tressler, who is a media ambassador for the event. We're going to welcome him here in a second and tell you a little bit about Alex. As I mentioned earlier, he's a 22-year veteran of the United States Army, or served for 22 years. And now he works as an Army civilian. So he's still associated with that division at Fort Greggs Adams, which is just south of Richmond, VA. As we learned, he re-entered the hobby back in 2008. Like many of us, he collected with his father growing up as a kid. And then when he came back into the space, he was active on YouTube, and now focuses on card groups and Facebook and dealing with short form content on Instagram and TikTok. And he'll tell us a little about his connection to the National and how he was enlisted, no pun intended, to be part of the National and the media ambassadors there. So without further ado, let's welcome in Alex Tressler. And you may know him more specifically on Instagram by his social handle, which is Army@C22. So Alex, welcome.
Welcome. I appreciate you coming on. And I'm going to tell you right now, so many people cannot get my username right. It's so funny. So it's Army@C22. So the ATC is air traffic control. That's what I did in the Army.
There you go.
I've heard so many different things. Army Cat, Army Act. It's just all over the place. So you're not alone. Just want to let you know that. But I appreciate.
But I imagine the 22 is for how many years served.
It actually isn't. It actually isn't. That's my lucky number. 22 has followed me around my whole life, and it just so happens, and this is wild, I retired after 22 years. In 2022. It's just wild.
There you go. Well, welcome this evening. So Army@C22 on Instagram and your socials. So Alex, you come to us, as I mentioned, through Virginia. You'll be coming to Cleveland for the first time, but you're no stranger to the hobby and no stranger to the National itself. How did you get involved with that show in particular?
With the National. So I have always enjoyed showing myself on camera. I've had no problem. It was an outlet away from my everyday life, getting away from, this or that and everything else like that. So starting off with just YouTube videos of breaking cards and everything, showing mail days and learning there was a huge card community, mainly on YouTube. I knew a lot of individuals from YouTube, including, always got to shout him out, Chris Justice from Cards Infinity. One of the first people, not the first person, to put his hands behind a camera and break cards for someone online who just retired from doing that. I met him. He was only an hour away from me in Wilmington, North Carolina, and because I was stationed down in Fort Bragg, North Carolina at the time, and just gave me a little bit of insight on hobby boxes and the industry and everything else like that. And it just blew up from there. Everything from flying to Florida with a group of friends and doing stuff down in Orlando to going up to Atlantic City, New York with more collectors and just enjoying the hobby and the friendship. Turned more into the short form a few years back because it's just being by myself, don't have a production crew and anything else like that, and wanting to do both short form and long form and only having, a phone, not so much the camera stuff yet. It's easier just to switch to that short form and not so much the long form. So I've kind of pushed away from it, but I'm bringing it back. I am coming back to YouTube with just other little things, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the stories of, people and how they got into collecting, what they're collecting, and, the stories of them opening a box and getting a huge pull, because a lot of people know me from the industry of YouTube is I had a monster pull back in 2008. My first ever basketball group break. I hit a dual logo man, John Stockton and Steve Nash from Exquisite. A lot of people have seen that video, and
I have seen that.
Of course, I don't have the hair. I was a lot younger and everything, but that was me. I was in uniform doing it. So I got videos on YouTube from opening boxes when I was deployed and everything else. On my free time, blowout cards would send it directly to Afghanistan. I've told a lot of other people this, I would get boxes from blowout cards in 5 days from order to Afghanistan.
Wow.
That's faster than like Hawaii. Like seriously, like it's wild. And
Tom Fish can do a lot of things, man.
He can make things happen. But I enjoy now just going out and talking to individuals, hearing their story, and helping educate new collectors. That's one big main thing with me making content and everything else. I don't feel like I'm an influencer. I'm a content creator. And I enjoy doing it. If one person takes any advice and stuff from it and runs with it, hey, good for you. But too many people have, the wrong narrative, or, you just see, I'm tired of, honestly, videos just seeing this transaction, this transaction, this transaction. We see that all day. That happens everywhere. Well, how did that person get that card? What are they doing with that card? Are they collecting a set, and everything else? Like, hearing more of that, understanding, back in 2009 when Upper Deck lost their license. Hey, my favorite product of all time is '09 Ultimate Collection Baseball. Literally, the jumbo patches were disgusting. It's when they lost their license and they were just moving all their inventory out of there as fast as they can while they already lost the license. And I remember all that, and the transition from Upper Deck, Tops, all losing their license, and now it's happening again with Panini, and people are coming up to me like, how was it back there? I'm like, I'm gonna let you know. Panini's about to do a sticker dump. They're about to do all this other stuff, and we've already started seeing it. Prism had 200, I think 200 to 300, and Prism Football 200 to 300 auto set. Like, when you get, I can just ramble on forever. When you get a Trey Lance third string Dallas Cowboys auto and an FOTL Prism Football box, how do you feel? Like, it's that's the way it goes. So.
Yeah, I can't argue that. But it's not defending them, because I don't do that. But, like, what are they supposed to do with the 10,000 Trey Lance autographs that they have? Right? It's unfortunate, but yeah. And for the people that get those hits, that's the gamble, right? And that's why they do this, right? You're going to get Trey Lance, or you're going to get, CJ Stroud. Well, you're not CJ Stroud, but you're going to get Justin Herbert. That's a whole nother conversation. You're going to get Justin Herbert, but and that's when you started with the breaking, that's kind of why people get into these breaks, right? Is so that they have the chance at the bigger hit at the lesser dollar.
Correct. We would do group breaks on YouTube and everything. It's always been the aspect of opening up a more expensive product, right, for a fraction of the price, and getting the possibility to, hit something out of something that you can't buy personally yourself. So, it turned into more business for a lot of individuals. But, back when we had a group of people, we were doing it at cost. Like, I was hosting group breaks and going down to the penny. Like, you would put, and Anthony he'll say it when he comes on, he'll agree. We would, if someone didn't get a hit in the break, I'd refund $3 for the shipping that was included in their break spot, and then that's how it was. We're collectors trying to, get some collections.
Now, Chris, what he was doing that a long time, Cards Infinity, and not even being in the breaking world, I knew who he is just because of how well he's ran things for however many years. I mean, a long time, however many years he's been doing it. And I saw that you had talked to him. What made him decide that it was time?
He's a one-man show. Like, you can understand, how many people do you have working in shop and everything. He's doing all that by himself, from taking the cards out of the packs, to shipping, to getting all the emails, all the concerns, stuff like that, or refunds and everything. He was a one-man show for everything. And I mean, he was live during the day, all day long, just breaking boxes one after one after one. And he said it was time. It was time for him to get away, and the stress and everything else. And he wanted to, go live his life golfing, and he's still around the hobby. He has a lot of friends that he helps out at shows. Like you're showing the video at CSA where I saw him. He goes up there with a couple of friends all the time at CSA shows. And he just wants to enjoy his life and not have to worry about checking the email, responding to emails, and everything else. So he's deserved it. He was a pioneer, and I've constantly said it time and time again. If there's one person that is due a card in Allen and Ginter in this industry, it's him, for being that person, being a forefront to starting breaking for how big of a business it is today.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, that OG term is thrown around for people that have been doing this for 6 months, but he's been doing it forever. And I don't know if he's the first breaker, but
He
he's
was.
one one.
He was the first person to do it
Yeah,
behind the camera
yeah,
for individuals.
yeah.
Like they
And that's a term that is fitting for him. You guys and Anthony. I mean, when he comes on, he's been doing it quite a long time. And
Mhm.
there are people and it's just like the shops, the brick and mortar shops that struggled for years and years having to sell score football for huge losses. And then when COVID came and they got to make a lot of money, good for them. They worked hard. And the same with the breakers. I mean, the ones that have been doing it for 15, 20 years that, like you said, struggled and gave people money back for getting hits to build their thing up, they deserve to reap what's been happening the last 5 years. And I mean, I've said that to a lot of people. Like, good, they worked hard for it. And I'm not saying that people that now are not working hard, because they are too. But there were growing pains along the way for a lot of us, and I kudos to them for sticking to it, and congratulations for them to making all the money that they made during COVID.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's it, there were a lot of times in the 90s and early and even late 2000s where, I mean, everybody can say, man, I don't know, how am I going to pay this bill? I'm selling cards of Jeff Kent, right? Like, I mean, you know, um,
Hey, he's one of the best second basemen of all
yeah,
time. That's
we're here in
walked.
Cleveland. We can tell you a lot about Jeff Kent. Base running error, whatever. That's here nor there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't even know where it is. But anyway, the point is, like, there's a lot of people that worked hard, like Chris, and they deserve, everything that
Accolades.
they've gotten, and good for him, So
Alex, you're a media ambassador for the National Sports Collectors Convention, as well as the CSA shows, which take place in Chantilly and Philly. You mentioned one of the things you love about this industry is educating people on the industry and the hobby itself. So for those who haven't been to a national, or maybe have been to one or two, what kind of advice could you give them to taking in this show, and how do you attack the national when it really can be overwhelming? There's 800 exhibitors in a major corporate area, if not two, and you've got 140 celebrity athletes and pop culture personalities walking around. It can really be daunting. So what advice would you give to somebody taking on the show for the first time?
Yeah, so I've gone through a list of different things over the past few months, and I think the biggest things I've told individuals is just take your time, right? There is so much to see there, and it's more than a show; it's a museum, it's an experience, and everything. But I've had so many people talk to me saying it's going to be their first ever show, and I said, okay, you have some time. Let's go back to, I don't know if you ever, the movie What About Bob? Baby steps, right? Start at a local show, 40 tables, can go up to 100 table. Get immersed in shows of what they are before you go to the monstrosity that is, the national of, everything's coming at you each in every way. I would say, when I say, take your time, like it's hard. If you can only go for one day, God bless you, because that's going to be one fast moving day. And it's going to be coming in and out quick. So that's why it's so many days long, right? It's meant to get the VIP pass, get the the be there all week and experience everything, because now you can take your time, and it's like, okay, maybe today I want to just go get some wax and wait in line for the tops packs. I want to go to the Whatnot Pavilion and watch the breakers all that day. I want to go look at all the museum pieces, go around and walk around, and all the stuff that's on auction and everything else are just things that you probably would never be that close to. You're able to be like really right behind the glass and next to $1 million items and stuff. So I would say the best advice is just take your time, and if it gets overwhelming, step outside, go outside, get some fresh air. Now, I don't know how hot it's up there. If it's as hot as around the rest of the country, you might want to make sure you're still under
yeah.
a fan or something. But Just take your time, step away, take a break, get something to drink, sit down, look over your stuff, and get another plan, and then attack it every day.
And I've told people kind of the same thing. Like you don't go to Disneyland for one day, right? You can't ride every ride. You can't see every site. Take your time, right? Walk around, wear comfortable shoes, right? There's the last couple years they've had this VIP lounge. Now it's the Ludex lounge. So if you buy the VIP pass, you can go and relax and just sit back and kind of take a notebook, write down, booth 530, remember that one, 537 Greenie Sports Cards. That's the booth that I want to see, whatever, whatever it is. It could be booth 630, booth 2, like, make notes of what you see. And I've also heard people say this a lot too, and it is true. If you see it and you think it's a good price, buy it.
Buy it.
It will not be there 10 minutes from then. So, and you can't buy everything. I totally get that. But like, if there's something certain that you want, buy it. Now there's other things like, okay, this guy has boxes of just Allen and Ginter. I want to go back to that table, or right, 72 tops. So there, you can make notes like that. And you can even go to the Gemini booth, 1308. He put a comment, and I say that, so Thomas Fisher, Gemini Sports Cards, him and I have been traveling for years and years, and he has a terrific setup. What he does is actually really cool. So 5 days of the National, day one, all his boxes are $5. Day two, they're all $4. Then they're $3, all the way down to, if you want to wait till Sunday, they're $1 a card. So write that down, booth 1308. So anybody else, feel free. We will promote every booth, all 600 and some of them.
Yeah, let us know where you are, where we can find you.
Let us know where you are. We'd be happy to. But
yeah, I'm getting ready. Yeah. I'm getting ready to post a reel or picture, like saying where you can find me at the National, and it's just I have dots all over everywhere, like because I'm just.
You need a GPS. You need a GPS tracker, and people can see where the red dash is going.
Yeah, you'll put 20,000 steps in. So, Alex, you mentioned having a plan for first timers. What's your plan going in? What are you looking forward to seeing at the show?
It's the people that I talk to a lot online, right? And, seeing them in one location and being able to just talk sports or whatever, seeing individuals that have had babies, got married and everything. Congratulating them in person. I have a case that has about, 10 to 15 gifts that I give out to it, people that I've known for so long, and everything. It is that aspect that I like the most about this show is all these individuals that you've interacted with online. If you're into breaking and you're breaking these people and they're actually breaking there, or if there's shops there or whatever, meeting these people in person because you've done so much interactions online with them. We do so much behind these screens and not enough right there next to them. It's sometimes that comes overwhelming and stuff. So actually being able to meet that person, or and you've seen a video of them and everything else. Like one of my good friends from the industry is Ryan Bannister from RBI Crew 7, and seeing him and Neil all the time. It's one of the first booths I always go to, just going to see them. The NCWO and everything like that. So they're putting out some great promos right now for the National. If you're not watching them.
If you want wrestling cards, RBI Crew 7 is the place to go. Ryan and his kid, I love watching them rip those boxes, and he's a true collector. I don't know if you've ever been to his actual shop.
I haven't been able to yet.
It's cool. I've stopped there on a drive cross country, and he takes care of you and gives you the whole tour, and they do a terrific job. I love Ryan. I love what they do at RBI Crew.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I like stopping there. I buy something from him every year. I buy stuff from him online. I love when he posts his things, his Instagram and Facebook posts. But there's a lot of people that it's a great atmosphere to see people, like you said, that you really see once or twice a year. I mean, some of us, we travel to Chicago or Chantilly, Dallas, and so you get to see some of the vendors at these things. But this really is the place where everybody can hang out. They're actually for the vendors on Tuesday night, the new promoters who you know from CSA shows, they're doing a dinner for the vendors. So that's going to be pretty cool on Tuesday night. So we'll get to hang out with a lot of people that cross country that I don't get to see all the time, but we do see through video, and that's the great thing about social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably I was going to ask you, Alex, what's changed in the industry over the last few years, and that may be the biggest thing, the connectivity on socials. But from your perspective, how has the industry evolved since certainly when you started collecting as a kid and then got back into it in 2008?
I'd say one thing I'm seeing more individuals in the range where I wasn't collecting, right? Where I got out when I think I hit puberty and found out that there was girls out there or something, and then I stopped collecting to later on when you're an adult. Now, it's probably because of the money aspect that's a part of this whole thing, right? It's keeping more, the younger generation in it. But it's also the ease of access to everything, from a one-click button, be able to buy something rather than having to go down to the LCS and buy a pack right there and everything else like that. I think that evolution of a younger generation getting more involved in seeing them have some of the cards that they have is just incredible, and the process of them getting those cards, if it's, their own money or their parents' money or whatever, if they've done the hard work, it's great to see that constantly moving, because if that young generation goes away from this, everyone says that the industry will still be fine because we still have all, everybody else in it. Eventually it will dwindle down a little bit more because they need to get to the age where we are and continue it on too.
Very interesting. So, Alex, we're going to ask you to hang around for a little bit because you do know our next guest, and we want to see if you guys recall any interesting moments from your early days of breaking. But we're going to go ahead and welcome in Anthony Loparo here. He is the man behind Top Notch Sports Breaks and the Top Notch Sports Club itself, and he's got a consignment business as a part of that. As well as the breaking business. And we're excited to talk to Anthony and also talk about Greenie has an update with Anthony on an upcoming show here locally that will be interesting. I believe that takes place before the Nationals. So we're going to go ahead and welcome in Anthony Loparo from Top Notch Sports Breaks. Anthony, thank you for joining us.
How's it going?
What's up? And you guys know each other.
What's up, Alex?
What up, Loparo?
What up, YouTube?
That's
funny. I was watching this and I saw Alex on there. I'm like, man, it's crazy. Everyone's still around. Well, not everyone, but majority of the people are still around.
Everyone goes.
Well, and that's something that
locations. It's wild.
Some of the new people that are in this hobby, in the space, have no idea that, like, they may break with you, Anthony, or used to with Alex, and they don't understand that we all know each other, right? Like, I mean, people that have been around this thing for 20 years, odds are we've all ran into each other at some point in time, or the Kevin Bacon theory, right? Everybody knows everybody in this hobby. And, the awful thing that just happened in Dallas with Ash and all those cards, like, that's not going to last very long. I mean, everybody knows everybody.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When did
you guys have any instantaneous memories or recollections from the early days of tearing into the cardboard?
I mean, Alex went viral with the Logo Man pull, and man, I still remember that day. Yeah, I mean, I was doing it in 2007. It was me, him, Miami 89. Oh God, there was a ton of them. Some that's, like I said, some that are still around and some that are just completely out of it.
Yank Sticks, man.
Oh yeah, Tom Bello's still around.
Yeah.
What's his name? Chad is still around.
Firehand Cards.
And he's huge. So a lot of those guys continued it the whole way there. But like I was listening to Alex say, he hit puberty and found all these other things. I got out of it because I got a girlfriend, and that I got out of it for like 5 or 6 years, and I got back into it. But it's funny how things make a full circle, and here we are.
Yeah.
many years
Loparo
later.
the grapher. He
Yep.
was out there graphing like crazy.
You used to meet famous people at the hotels and get autographs and do that stuff. And
Well, occasionally I see you still out doing that,
for a higher ticket items, like obviously that Curry
Curry.
and people along the lines like that, like Luca, Paul McCartney, all those type of like bigger ticket items
Took
that
you a
are
minute
worth.
to get Kevin Durant.
Yeah, which I ended up getting rid of that jersey the other day.
Yeah,
But
still.
But yeah, that was like my history, and then got out of cards. Now we're back since 2015.
Do you miss the graphing?
No, no. the amount of hours outside of a hotel or at an arena now, it's just these guys don't like doing it anymore because they're getting paid to do it. So it's like
Right.
unless you have a rare item of someone that's hot, it's not worth it. Not worth the time.
So Anthony, Alex actually mentioned earlier in the broadcast about his big hit that's kind of set him on the map when he was still in the service. And you recall that as well. Do you have a signature moment that you recall from breaking that something that'll stick with you forever?
Back then, no. Nothing huge because I got out kind of too early. I mean, we hit back in the day like big barrels and knobs, when they first started doing that stuff. But I don't recall anything from back then. Newer stuff, yeah, but
well, if not a break itself, what about going to a show or opening a pack on your own from when you were little? Something that sticks out that you're like, man, that was cool.
I mean, when I was really young, going to card shops with my dad and doing that stuff with him because he enjoyed it. That's who got me into it. The biggest signature set that we really loved opening was 2001 Sweet Spot. So something like that back in the day that's memorable. And I time to time still buy him a box every year for Christmas just for memories. But yeah, that's really about it.
So the breaking, as great as it's been, we have seen, a lot of people pivot and change to different things, and you're no different. I mean, you started an entire new division of consignments. What made you decide to do that?
Well, we all know when COVID hit that at some point that money would run dry or it wouldn't be as crazy as it would. So I thought about the next move, and obviously before I started doing it, I used to bring my stuff to Zach at DC Sports. So when I saw his operation and saw how lucrative it was, and then I saw that he got out of the break game, I'm like, well, if we do the breaking and then we sell it for them, I wasn't really concerned about bringing people in that weren't a part of our group. Long term, yes, but short term, I wanted people that broke with us to stay with us to keep the money in the same wheelhouse, and they could reuse the money for breaks. It just allowed them to have money at all times. So once we started doing that, 4 years ago or 3 years ago, then I kind of expanded it, hired more people, and brought it kind of to a different level. We're still not as big as we should be or what we will be, but we're getting there.
I mean, it seems that the consignment is a huge route that people are going now. I mean, you do all the work, you take all the risk, you do all the mailing. I mean, it's really very simple. And I know you have a website that people can follow their auctions. I mean, you make it very simple. Even if they don't break with you, they can send you cards.
Yeah, we have guys that aren't even in our group that were recommended from friends or were recommended from Gio at Sports Cards Nonsense and Eddie over there. We've got guys that don't even know really who we are, but they put our name out there, and we've gotten people, strangers that email me and say, "Hey, Eddie and Gio sent me your way," and we literally 3 days later have 300 slabs, high-end slabs that came in. So it's like, once the name's out there, if you click my account and you have an account, once you sign up, you have your own account and you log in and you can see all your items in lifetime. And as they end, they go into pending. Once they get paid for, they go to completed and the money goes right in your account. You can request a cash out. And as soon as I get that alert, usually I pay it out within 2 minutes. Unless I'm sleeping, but usually you get your money same day unless you request a cash or a check. That's the only time you'll ever wait for your money. So, but yeah, everything's self-explanatory. There's a video, a very simple 2-minute video that explains everything about us. And a lot of people will see it. I have a guy that's going to start traveling that works for me. He's going to be hitting all the shows, setting up. People can drop off grading cards or consignment cards, and we'll bring it back with us. So that's the goal for 2024.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah,
that's
the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal for 2024 and 2025 is just blow that aspect out of the water. So
realistically, people can buy into your break. You can send their card off to PSA, and then you can sell it for them.
Yep. So what we've
That's
noticed, we just got into the grading aspect because we've been kind of pushing away from it because we didn't have the time. But we end up hiring more people. And the best aspect that we saw was somebody mailed in 30 cards as a test trial, and 11 of them went to grading. The other remaining cards went straight to consignment that same night. So the benefit of us is if it's not worthy of grading, we do note all condition issues, anything that we see, and it will be noted in the auction, and they could literally consign it on the spot if they don't want them back. So
Yeah.
We're trying to make it different than any other consigner, trying to make it different than any other breaker, and then trying to make it different than any other submission for grading. So we're trying to do it all under one house.
That's exactly what has to happen because there's so many people that are trying to do a bunch of different things, but nobody's doing it all correctly.
Well, they're trying to pivot away from the breaks because they see how much work is involved now and the volume game they have to do in order to make a living on it. It's tough. If you're not with Fanatics or you don't have direct accounts, it's very difficult right now. So you have to have another avenue of money. And if you don't, you're not really going to survive unless you can survive on very little and do a lot and kind of get away from this whole bad economy and whatnot. I think at some point it will come back. But it's going to take a little bit of time, in my opinion.
Well, I guess this is a question for both of you guys. What do you see or even feel about? I'm at a lot of shows. I know, Anthony, you're not, but Alex, you've been around. But everywhere I go, people only ask for downtowns and kabooms. How long could that last?
I'll let Alex go first.
It will go as long as Panini keeps pumping them out. That's one of my main PC is Pat Tillman, and I'm so glad that they only have one downtown of them because how many downtowns years had Patrick Mahomes had? He has had multiple. Yep. They use the same player over and over and over again. Tillman doesn't have a kaboom yet. Thank God, because it's going to be expensive when it does come out. But if they keep printing them, that people are buying them because those are the cards. These repackers are going around saying we're spending 100% comps for these cards because we want them as chasers inside of our packs. Yep. So it's going to go for a while.
I agree with that, and I'm just as guilty because we build repacks too. So the hardest part right now with this industry, and I was trying to explain that to someone that works for me, is it's very tough for people to flip right now, only because if you try to go buy cards right now, you're paying you got to pay 90 to 95% for cards, and at some point it's not going to last forever, and somebody's going to get stuck with it. The repackers, they'll buy it all day. The people on Whatnot and Fanatics that build repacks, they don't mind spending it because they have enough of a following where they could charge a little bit above what they paid and they just pump out volume, and that's all that really matters to them. So I'm curious to see what happens. I'm not sure.
I'd really love to know the print run. I mean, I was at a show in South Bend this week, a little show, and they do a great job, but there were literally 3 downtown kaboom Patrick Mahomes there.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
And you got to think,
exactly.
Anthony, you've probably seen a lot of it. Like, how many downtowns have came out of Optic Football already? And Hobby isn't even out yet. Out yet.
Right. And at some point, it's not going to make sense, especially because blasters and hangers and all those stuff comes out, and you can get them out of there in mega boxes. But then they're coming out strong. It's not even out yet, the Hobby, and they want almost $900 a box. So it's like, I don't. They print so much of it. We know that, but as long as And this is what I try to tell people too. As long as the following is strong and there's enough people to make it sellable, it will withstand. But at some point when people get out and they're still printing that much stuff, the stuff is at some point going to stand on the shelf. So I don't know.
And this is why the thought process of a group break comes into play real well, because you're getting these teams at a fraction of the price. I always tell one of my biggest things I always tell individuals is, if you can get probably the best team out there for the same price of one box and you're in a full case, take them, period.
Oh,
because
right.
Now you're getting that team in 12 boxes, 10 boxes, instead of just trying to search for the Stroud in one box or Wemby in one box.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, Greenie, you've got a pretty unique event coming up for at least these parts in the industry. All free, coming up in Kirtland. Free attendance, free tables, free break, free trade night, and a break involving Anthony and Top Notch Breaks. Why don't you guys talk about that a little bit coming up at Kirtland, and which will sort of kick off the pre-national here?
Yeah. So this Friday and Saturday, one of the things we always try to do is something different, kind of like Anthony said, like you got to be, you don't have to be first, but you got to be good at it, and you have to do it right. And, we thought about it and we thought, let's try a trade night with this little monthly 40 table show and make it a community event. And, I've known Anthony for a while, and I know that he does the breaks, and I know he's local to Kirtland, the next town over. And I thought this would be a great opportunity. And I reached out to him, and, not knowing what he would say, but he said, yeah, this is a great idea. And it really is. It's not meant to have somebody from Idaho fly in and come to our training. This is for the community, Northeast Ohio, Kirtland, Menor, Chardon, Beechwood. So, everywhere around that. So we'll get a lot of kids. We'll get a lot of families that come, and while they may be looking for the downtowns and kabooms, they're really not. They're really coming to look for cards that they like to collect. And there's a lot of kids in that area that, collect Mitchell Trubisky because he went to Menor, right? Or, the Browns and the Guardians and the Cavs. So it is, and there's Pokemon. There's quite a bit of that there. So this is more of a thank you to the community, and everybody's invited. If the guy from Idaho wants to fly, we'll be more than happy to have him. But it's a community event that we wanted to have, and the normal monthly show is Saturday, and we just decided to just open it up and make it free the whole weekend, and people can come out and hang out and trade cards, buy cards, sell cards, do a break. So it's just something fun that will be a precursor to the big nonstop national.
Right.
This is kind of a little relaxing show before that.
I did get I do have 12 boxes of Series 2 coming for the kids. So
nice.
that's what I'm at least gonna do for the kids at the show. I'm just gonna give it away to all of them. So
yeah.
we'll figure out we'll do it on the fly and see how it goes.
That's right. That's right. There's no there's no rules, and we'll just give packs out, let kids open some stuff. And,
right.
Somebody will hit something. Fine. I have a case of Heritage from last year that I'm gonna bring, and we'll just open packs and we'll have hot dogs and whatever. Just to be, a nice little Kirtland show. And
Greenie, that'll be free, correct? So this Friday and Saturday, kids will come in and break for free. Tables will be
Friday night at 6 o'clock. Yep. So they want to set stuff out on tables. There'll be 50 tables set up, and first come, first serve. Put your stuff out, and that's simple. There's no rules, right?
Great.
And then admission is free as well on Saturday.
It's a free for all, Anthony. They're coming for you. It's a free for all.
They're coming. But you know what? And if they want, they can bring cards to consign with Anthony, or they can bring them to grade too. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
And we'll have information at the show for everyone to see. So
will you be at the national and walking around, or?
I'll be walking. We're not set up. With the whole debacle of everything going on with that whole thing, we're not setting up. We're not breaking there like we did last national in Cleveland. And we're only 25 minutes away. I'll break from the office. It don't matter. But we'll be there walking every day. So
After party
there
at
every day.
Anthony's house. There's going to be the late night after parties at Anthony's house every night.
Restricted. No one's
There's going to be plenty of after parties.
Oh yeah,
of course. Yes.
Yeah. The trade nights. I did I hear something about Top Golf? Is that happening?
I don't. The problem with that, we tried to get it together. There's just too many people that want to go. You can only reserve so many bays, and it's so expensive. So I kind of put a nix to that. And I'm probably just going to get some people together and make a post and try to get people to go to the Indians game or something, because the amount of I don't want to leave people out of it or leave people behind. I'll just let this. I'll buy tickets for a handful of people if they want to go. Cool. If not, whatever. But
Anthony,
the whole Top Golf thing got out of hand.
Top Golf, good.
Tuesday night before the national starts. I know a lot of the vendors are going to the dinner with the national stuff, but I've posted on Instagram and stuff, and there's already a big group of us that we're trying to fill up left field in Tuesday night's game, because they're playing Monday through Thursday. Don't want to go Wednesday night, and I don't want to go Thursday during the day. So Tuesday night I'm coming up early.
I'm in.
Good.
There's a lot of us going. So go check my Instagram. You'll see where the section is and stuff.
Perfect.
We found a huge section that has a lot of seats, and there's already, I think, a good 24 that have already got seats in that area. So
I'm
jump
in.
on board with that.
Should be a fun time, as well as the entire national. We can't wait for that to happen, and it goes by so quick. Like I Tuesday we set up, and next thing you know, it's Sunday at 4:00.
Yep.
Yeah. So
a whole
very
year's
good.
gone by already.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
So, guys, we can't thank you enough for coming on with us tonight and coming to Cleveland and supporting the hobby and supporting Cleveland, Ohio. Anthony, they can find you at Top Notch Sports Club, I believe, online.
Yep,
Top Notch
.com.
Sports Club.
Yep.
And then Army ATC 22 on
Got it, Jeremy. Got it.
Instagram.
Legend.
Yeah. Dude, thank you guys very much. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Anthony, we'll see you Friday.
Hey, sounds good. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Take it
Thanks,
easy,
guys.
Thanks, Alex.
So that was Alex Tressler and Anthony Loparo joining us. We're going to welcome in our Alex auctioneer here shortly. We did want to give people a programming note because we didn't mention it earlier, but you're going to want to tune in next Tuesday as well at 7:00, starting at 7. We have Darren Ravel coming up, founder and owner of Collect. Darren is a huge personality, huge name in the industry. Of course, he was on ESPN and MSNBC and the Action Network. He's an Emmy award-winning journalist, so he's got the pulse on the hobby. He's got a lot of followers in the hobby, and he'll be coming to Cleveland. So that'll be our last show before the National, and we'll have to figure out what's going on the Tuesday night of the National. But next Tuesday, big show, All-Star Game. And we'll have Darren Ravel on starting at 7. So tune in with us. Stick around for the auction. Alex will have some interesting things that evening as well. And we'll go ahead and welcome Alex into the stage to give us a preview of what's going to take place on eBay. And, of course, if you're watching on any of our streams at this moment, at 8 o'clock, you're going to want to go over to eBay Live and join the live auction where, Alex, everything starts at $2, I believe.
Yeah, $2 auctions all night. We still have a lot of slabs still left over. Obviously, we're going to start with couple packs. We're going to be doing packs throughout the night. We've been doing it at the top of each hour, so that'll be kind of cool. Definitely still, that's the 2024 Pop Century Metal stuff. Very cool, all one-of-ones. Really fun stuff. We've had some wild things out of these. Still have a couple of the last remaining Phoenix Silver packs for these things, which have been a lot of fun to rip. Both of those we'll be starting off the show with here. So real good deal. Everything's $2. Basketball, baseball, football. Like I said, a lot of slabs too. We have a couple big ones I want to get through by the end of the National. And next week's show is the All-Star Game. So I'm going to try to think of something really fun for that throughout the week. And then I don't know. It's got to be something fun. It's got to be baseball related. I'm going to try to make something happen this weekend over at Kirtland because I'll be up there too. And try to see if we can't make that show kind of like fun themed, get some All-Stars in there, get some cool chasers, make it kind of cool because, hey, it's the All-Star Game. But as far as some of the slabs, like I still have that Amon-Ra St. Brown PSA 9 rookie ticket optic out of 50. I want to get this thing up over here. I got to get some Lions fans in the building. I don't know who isn't a Lions fan, but still got that. And I've promised like 6 people I'm doing this, Bronny. I'm doing this tonight. PSA 10 Bronny James, the GOAT. Future GOAT, actually, is what he is. Future Drew Holiday. Future Drew Holiday right there. Or that's my comp for him. I'm saying no worse than Drew Holiday, but better than Drew Holiday, worse than LeBron James. Huge gap of what his career will be, but that's the hope for the Clevelanders. But yeah.
So Alex, we tell viewers that this show goes because of them. It's an interactive show, and if you're on eBay, talk about that a little bit. You encourage people to make their suggestions and comments and what kind of cards and teams you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, there's no set thing. I got a lot of stuff over here. It's hopefully organized well enough where if there are people that want, I don't know, if you're a football fan, what do I got right out over here? I got some Colts, got some Josh Downs, got some Bryce Young refractors. Reality is, I want to know what you guys are looking for so we can find it. Because the worst case I can tell you is I don't have it. But the best case is I got something that you're looking for, and we're going to be starting that bad boy off at $2. So it's kind of awesome. It helps the night go a little bit quicker in terms of having stuff running. Because the worst thing is be putting up stuff people don't want to see. And the reality is we have so much stuff. It's just, hey, tailoring it to the people that are in the room. So if there's stuff that you're looking for, a lot of you guys might be local here. There's not as many Cleveland fans over there. Well, as there should be. Well, we got a lot of people throughout the country, so it's really fun to get. And it helps us know what to look for at these shows. So it really helps. So if I don't got it, I'll try to get it this weekend or the weekend after, or get a couple names. I've been asked for Taj Bradley like every week. And
we looked. I don't know if Matt got any this weekend or not. We have a package of stuff to get you. And
I'll see you before Thursday, I'm sure.
Yeah. So
all right, well, we're going to let you go so you can hop over to the eBay Live platform.
Get it all set up, boys. I appreciate you, and hey, I'm excited for next week. All-Star game, Darren Rovell. That's actually kind of a baller show, so we'll make it a fun one.
Awesome.
All right,
thank you, Alex.
See you all at eBay. Join us.
So that's the other thing, and Alex. So Alex is going to be at the National with us pretty much most of the week, and we're not going to have anything scheduled per se, but that's why, and we'll make sure that Alex puts this on eBay. Make sure that you save us as sellers so you get notifications when we go live, because we're liable to go live at any time there. Whether it's us jumping on here because somebody's walking by in the booth, and maybe Darren Rovell walks by the booth, or Kenny Rhoda walks, or Hayden Grove, or somebody, or Coach K from Cleveland State is probably going to come. So, who knows?
You never know
who may come in.
140 different personalities, and we're planning to be ready to go live at a moment's notice and talk to some really interesting personalities, right, and perhaps some Hall of Famers and All-Stars, and you never know.
There could be card show Hall of Famers there, Jeremy. I mean, Ray Schulte is going to come by, Alex, who we just spoke to, and they can give us a lowdown what they've been seeing on the national floor. And we've started this media broadcast thing, and we're going to continue it, and we're going to broadcast it from the National, and people will be able to hear some stories of what's going on the convention floor, and maybe we'll even walk around with some cameras. Who knows? So make sure you get our notifications on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we'll be live at any given time.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very cool. I'm looking forward to that. It's there's not a lot of sleep that week, but there's some really, really cool things that take place within the show, outside of the show, and we've talked about this before. We both have a real special connection to that event and the venue in particular, and it's going to be really cool to have it back in Cleveland and have the entire hobby industry descend on Cleveland, Ohio, our hometown.
July 24th through the 28th at the IX Center in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio.
And then real quick before that will be the Kirtland Show. Give them the details on that.
Friday, July 12th, trade night, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then Saturday, the show is 9 p.m. to 3 p.m. The Kirtland Senior Center. Jeremy, the show where everybody knows your name. Free all weekend. Free tables, free admission, free parking.
There you go, Greenie. There you go.
There you go.
So, our thanks to Alex Tressler and Anthony Loparo, and of course Haley running the boards, and Alex Schott. Head over to eBay Live Look for Greenie Sports Cards, and you can participate in those auctions. Greenie, as always, it's been a pleasure, and we will see you again soon.
This time next week, same bat channel, same bat time. I guess that was probably backwards, but either way, you know what I meant.